Let's go to the game.
Look at that handsome devil Ignite. Ignite and I,
And
by the way, we both got scammed when we were in Sweden for DreamHack. The cab driver scammed us because we weren't Swedish speakers and he didn't speak English. We got our cab ride. But Forsen was with us. So when the cab driver is explaining whatever the price of this cab ride was, which is about 5 or 6 minutes, Forsen was like, yeah, that's a standard cab price. That's totally normal. So then, like, we got back to the hotel and we started calculating it. And we were like, wait a minute, this was like 4 times as much as it should have been. And Forsen was like, oh, yeah, it is. I was like, what? You let us get scammed?
Forsen scammed you. By the way, this is actually Handlock and an Aggro Druid. So we predicted correctly here. Wait a minute. This is not an Aggro Druid. Do you see the Ancient of War?
If he uproots that, it's a little bit aggro, but outside of that, I think this looks to me like it's just the intent is to scale. Cards like Zombie Chow are going to be used more so to fend off early pressure than they are going to be to actually apply pressure themselves. So, unintended consequence, this will apply some pressure to your opponent sometimes, but it's more in here to kind of fight off against early minions, stuff like Flame Imp and the Haunted Creeper, things of that nature. That's what Zombie Chow's more for. But now he's finding himself in spots like this.
I'd like to talk about a couple of things in here. So Dtwo basically didn't ban Hunter from Ignite. So Dtwo was probably expecting Hunter as the first class as an opener. On the other hand, Ignite did expect Dtwo to expect Hunter. So he started with a Handlock, which is pretty cool, like mind game here. And just taking a gamble of what your opponent is expecting and what will be your game plan. So right now it seems like Handlock is actually favored against this kind of Druid. And you can already see that Handlock has a lot of cards, a lot of potential. He gets a Mountain Giant, and wow. Druid is actually struggling here.
Struggling indeed. Let me ask a serious question. Is there any merit to uprooting this guy?
I don't think so. Because of many cards like BGH and... Still, a 5/10 on turn 5 is pretty formidable.
Sure. Oh, Mark of the Wild. Yeah, so this is definitely more geared at scaling into the mid game and then taking over the late game potential than it is at actually pressuring your opponent. So we were wrong in that regard. This is not an aggro Druid, which is a little bit surprising to me, I think. I feel like aggro Druid has a really solid matchup versus something like Hunter, and I'm not sure how something like this would fare. It feels to me like this deck's going to be in a similar position with Handlock, where something like Hunter's Mark is going to apply a lot of pressure to you while your opponent's able to just continue to, chip away at your life total and chip away at the rest of your minions that you have in play.
Well, it seems like it's more like a mid-range Druid. So as you said, it's like building up board with cards like Zombie Chow, maybe Harvest Golem, and then with Innervates, like getting to late game and just dropping those big creatures like Ancient of War and Ragnaros. But here the matchup versus Handlock is pretty weird because I feel like, well, originally this kind of Druid was always weak to Handlock, because Handlock is just drawing too many cards and it's hard to get all the removal cards in time. He didn't have Keeper of the Grove, so there was no easy way to deal with Twilight Drake. And I'm sure he's not running BGH as well because this deck is not built to counter Handlock. So right now Dtwo in a pretty bad position where he will be just fighting for board control and board presence. But he just has worse cards, and like, it seems like he's going to the sword fight with a club.
Not the worst position to be in. He's still got a weapon. I'm not
still something, right?
Something that I want to touch on too is I don't think that Big Game Hunter is necessarily not in this deck, but I don't even know how much of a difference it really makes in this matchup. Like, it helps you. It helps you kill giants, obviously, which is fantastic, but how does that fit into your game plan? Like, is your game plan to run Warlock out of threats? Because you're not applying a ton of mid-game pressure. You're just kind of scaling and putting down statistically efficient cards, but that's exactly what the Warlock's trying to do. And it's doing it it's doing a better job at that.
Yeah.
So even if you have something like Big Game Hunter, like, does it make sense in the lineup? Because how do you use that to defeat your opponent?
Well, I absolutely agree here as well because this druid will try to build up the board, but as you said, it's like Warlock is just doing a better job in here. And I also like to mention something about the players because maybe you don't know Ignite and Dtwo, and Dtwo is actually a player who qualified alongside with Admirable for the New York regionals for the BlizzCon World Champs. So Dtwo is actually a player like from Team DKMR, a player who was like on the scene for a long time. He was playing in many NESL tournaments. He was winning some of them, playing in some show matches as well, and he showed his skills recently.
Look at this. Mark of the Wild. This is going to leave it vulnerable to the Sun Fury Protector now. Is that the right play? He's trading a Mark of the Wild effectively for a Sun Fury Protector. But it's costing him 7 mana to do it. Do you agree with that? Or do you think he should have just developed his board and waited to use Mark with something like Faceless Manipulator?
Yeah, I certainly agree that he should keep the Mark for Faceless. Right now, it really doesn't look good for him.
Yeah, this is
I mean, he is
maybe
out
a
of
little
cards.
bit quick.
Even if the board seems okay-ish because he has a Druid,
Oh, jeez.
it's just, 2 cards versus the full hand.
Yeah.
And there's so much potential for Ignite. What do you know about Ignite, by the way? Like, you were scammed because of Forsen.
I think I was actually scammed because of Ignite. Ignite's is a great player. He has a very strong mind for the game. He thinks about everything, even when he knows he can make quick plays. He's going to stop and think about the logic and find what he thinks is the best line to crush his opponent. He's not going to spare it. He's not going to spare any moment to, saving a few seconds doesn't matter to him. What he's here to do is he's here to crush his opponents and crush them as often as possible. And that's something that, honestly, he's kind of been doing. He's had great tournament results. He's a very strong player. You can even see it here, like how badly he's kind of overcome this sort of position. This is really weird. He's choosing to not use the Siphon Soul, though. I don't know about this. Oh, wow. He's going to owl his Sludge Belcher. Huh, well, that's genius. Okay, well...
That's a really nice play, by the way.
That's the kind of play that I'm talking about. Like, the whole turn, I'm looking at the hand, I'm going, I wonder exactly what he's thinking about. And he's found a way to turn a Power Overwhelming and a second Owl, a card that is effectively dead in his hand, and one that's stuck in his hand for a while, into board development cards. These are the kinds of positions he puts himself in frequently. This is one of the reasons why he wins so much. These little tiny things. I mention this all the time, and it's actually coming into effect right here, where I say, don't play too fast, because if you play too fast, that's where you make mistakes. Even if plays are really obvious, the obvious play isn't always the right play. And this is one of those spots. There was a very obvious play. Siphon Soul on a 4/6. It's good value, gains you some health, keeps your Sludge Belcher fine. And that's it. It seems really good. But he's found a way to develop this board and, frankly, kind of overdevelop it, which is good against Druid because they don't have big board sweeper or punishing cards for this sort of spot. And he's still got Siphon Soul on top of this.
Yeah, exactly. He just kept his removal card, and also he was able to use that 1 mana Power Overwhelming as a removal card. He didn't even lose much health on the Sludge Belcher because the health went up and then it went down after taking damage.
Wow. Is this lethal? 10 plus 5? Not quite.
It's 9, 13.
He's got 18 damage, right?
It's like 1 off lethal. It's always 1 off lethal. Like, how does it always happen?
I don't know. It just always does, though.
Look at this. Double Senjin. Sick.
Double Senjin. How about an 8/8 taunt of Senjin? How about that, Nimsh?
Well, why do you want to copycat like your opponent's minions? There's no respect there.
This situation is getting quickly worse for Dtwo. This is going to be pretty much the game.
Yeah, this is the game.
Yeah, that's going to do it. Game 1 going over to Ignite. Very well played with the Power Overwhelming and an Owl on the second turn. My goodness.
So let's see the mulligans. He goes with the Shaman. So you actually win here. And
he's got an Undertaker.
Look at that hand. It's like coin, Harvest Golem, Undertaker. It's pretty nice. It's an aggressive deck.
Wow.
Double Harvest Golem with a coin. So it's a pretty sick start.
So I wanted to let's break this down a little bit. This is really interesting to me right off the bat because there's 2 things that we're seeing that are a little bit I would say non-traditional. Which is the first one is he's got Undertaker in here, I haven't played too much Shaman lately, but this strikes me as something new. So he's got cards like Undertaker, which means I think he's got things like the Rubian Egg and Haunted Creeper to scale into things like Harvest Golem and then continue to pressure from there. But he's also got Manatide Totem in this deck. So,
oh man, this is really interesting right now because, well, being a Warlock here, what do you do? Like, Warlock doesn't have the early removal. You have the Soulfire, but this is not the turn you want to Soulfire. You want to play that Giant as soon as possible. And the Undertaker, by the way, is a pretty good card. It's like, some people say it's actually overpowered because you have so many Dtwo cards that scale this card, like to the insane numbers. It's he can grow to like 6 and 7 and just bash your opponent. If you don't have a silence, if you don't have early removal for it, this card just goes. It's just insane.
yeah, this is a Molten Giant gets discarded too. You can actually see the pain in his face when that happened. But I have to. Wow, yeah, this is. Undertaker certainly is one of those cards that can really feel like it's overpowered in certain kinds of scenarios. It's a snowbally kind of card. It's not meant to. It's certainly not meant to just be a 1-mana 2/3 and then sit there and be fine with it. It wants to continue to grow to these mid-sized minions. It wants to be a 1-cost minion that ends up being the size of Chill and Yeti.
By the way, Nathan, Hellfire is a huge draw.
Yeah, he actually chooses to not Hellfire here, which I thought was really interesting.
It's really interesting because you could actually get rid of the Undertaker, and right now, oh my god, he can play both the Rattle cards and the Undertaker who grow to like a 4/5.
Yep. Now the question here is, do you attack this Earthen Ring Farseer or not? Okay, so he's gonna. So what he's doing here is he's taking away his opponent's ability to use Shadow Flame as easily as he wants to. That's the whole purpose behind that. And look, this Hellfire. This is like, it's okay, I guess. You took a 4-power minion off the board, but
the board is still powerful.
Got a lot of damage, yeah.
Yeah, the board is still there, and he can now play Fire Elemental. By the way, like, Dtwo's hand is so good. Like, he has all the answers he needs.
Oh yeah. This
like, for example, in this matchup, Flametongue Totem is pretty important because you build the board, and with all the Defraudo cards, it's hard to clear. And with the Flametongue, you can get a lot of value out of those small creatures.
Yeah,
for example, if like Ignite plays a Giant next turn, then Dtwo can just play the Flametongue and trade all the small minions into the Giant. He doesn't have to even use the second Hex.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see him make a push for damage here. I kind of would want my opponent to play a Giant in this scenario, because even if they taunt it, you have an Earthshock for it, and you can just kill them through it with Doomhammer and Earthshock.
I agree. It's a pretty good play here. He can deal with the possible Giant. He has a lot of points of damage here.
With that, just to 16 though, and that's 1 mana short of Ignite being able to taunt up a Molten Giant. So very deliberate about his attacks. D2, he doesn't want to put him too low because the lower he puts his opponent, the closer he is to Molten Giant mana, and that's what he's thinking about in this spot. He didn't just miss the damage, guys. This is a deliberate non-attack. I haven't counted his damage yet, but it's got to be really high. We're looking at 6, 7, 8.
He has 1 mana
10,
of lethal.
11, 12, 13. He's got 14 damage 2 different ways. He's either got it with the Doomhammer or he's got it with the Flametongue Totem. So not quite yet. A few points off.
Yeah, it's pretty close to get to that kill with the Warlock here. So what do you do? Do you just clear the board and try to set up the lethal next turn?
Well, this is one of the spots where this is why I wanted to push for more damage.
For damage, yeah.
If he makes this push for damage, even if his opponent has a taunt, he has to have 2 taunts to be able to get through this board. So, he did a good job at making sure his opponent couldn't taunt him with a Molten Giant. But in that scenario, I think I wanted my opponent to taunt a Molten Giant, and I wanted that to be pretty much all he did. So I think putting him down to 13 health, that's going to give your opponent 5 of his 7 mana, so he's got 2 extra mana left over. Maybe you put him at 14 then. If your opponent's at 14, they're able to taunt up 1 Giant. They're not able to taunt up a Giant and an Ancient Watcher because they don't have the mana for it. But now he's found himself in this kind of position. And look at this. He's actually having to save his Earthshock for a later day. Wow, this is a really
possible Molten Giant.
So he doesn't play Doomhammer here either, and he attacks this Ancient Watcher. He's really playing around Shadow Flame with this series of plays.
And there is a Soulfire. What does it even mean? Like, right now he has to clear. Or does he? Well, he's staring at it. He will be able to kill that Fire Elemental without any problems. Like, he can Soulfire it. But then there is the 5/5 Violet Teacher. And did he overload him? So he didn't. So if there is Alak here, just
Sure. You say without any problems, but the problem is he's going to have to discard either a Mountain Giant or a Shadow Flame, and it's only effectively dealing 1 damage. That's really the issue. Is D2 drinking
it's kind of
soy sauce,
painful.
by the way? Did you? What's in that bottle? I don't recognize the bottle at all. That was really sort of weird. I just noticed it real quick. Anyway, he's going to Soul Fire to make sure that this Fire Elemental, it's just too much damage to be pushing through. And I'm pretty sure this game is going to be coming to a close very soon because Ignite's just kind of out of cards at this point. And the more he taps, the closer he's going to get to actually dying.
Yeah, but on the other hand, D2 kind of doesn't have a way to deal with this Molten Giant.
He doesn't have a way to like deal with the Molten Giant, but I think he's got more than enough cards to continue fighting through it.
Well, the problem is that there is the Shadow Flame. So if he doesn't kill the Molten Giant here,
he gets Shadow Flame, but look at he's still got a strong recovery even from the Shadow Flame.
yeah, he has the second Feral Spirit.
Yeah, when your opponent's got 2 cards left, I think this is a good spot where you can really push. Like you're not worried about Molten Giant anymore because you've seen your opponent discard 1, and this is the second one. Wait, so he just immediately says that was a mistake. What's going on?
So I guess his plan just backfired. Maybe he thought. Okay, I don't know. It's like I guess maybe he thought that he could just kill the giant anyway. He can kill the giant
I
now.
wouldn't even want to kill the giant in this scenario. Is there like you're at 27? Is there a reason that you're not pushing damage to the face right now?
I guess there is no. Wait, he is killing the giant after all. So he is fighting for board presence here. Instead of just going for the win, he's going for the...
Oh, okay. So that's why he said it was a mistake then, is because he wanted the totem to be next to the Flame Tongue totem instead of the token being next to it.
Oh wow, love that. It's pretty interesting. He will be able to stop the Feral Spirits.
Oh, he's going to be overloaded.
And he is going to be overloaded. So possibly no play for him next turn. And Warlock is still at 12 points of health, so... Well... Interesting. How does the Warlock win from here? Do you need Leroy? Or do you need like a big taunt or just fight for board? That Doomhammer is really dangerous, by the way.
Certainly you're worried about it, but what option do you have? You have to keep clearing stuff down and kind of going from there. I imagine this is going to be a Harrison turn.
Yeah, Harrison is pretty... It's okay in here. It's just a 5-4 blank, which is just developing the board. And a totem, obviously. A taunt on him is pretty nice. It's actually perfect. He will be able to, kill the 2/3. Just push with damage again. Like, one Molten Giant is out of the way, so...
No, remember, he discarded the other one to the Soulfire early on.
Oh, yeah,
he
right.
the Manatide Totem. Yeah, he should. That's one of the reasons why I think he should have been pushing for damage even through the Molten Giant, because if your opponent taunts it up, he could just never have 2 of them. So the ideal goal is that when he's done taunting, he would have 1 mana left taunting, so that way you can first shock. He's going to float to 1 mana. Instead, Power Overwhelming, Shadow Flame, and the 6/6 Loatheb. Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a tough cookie here. It's hard to deal with. But he has Feral Spirits, he has Nerubian Egg, so he is able to develop the board. But this game is... It just took a weird turn. It's like I felt like D2 has it under control. He just didn't take the occasion. He was just trading the board and
I feel like
put himself in a weird spot.
Yeah, to me, this is like a matter of time before he wins the game. As far as I'm, he's got so much. He's got so much to make sure that he's not the one taking damage. You can tell he feels nervous though, even though his opponent's only got 1 card in his hand, which of course he doesn't know, but is Mountain Giant, and Ragnaros gets drawn. And that's sort of...
I feel like you Siphon Soul, by the way. It's just putting yourself to 9, and I don't know.
6 life is a very low life total. It certainly is. Like, at this point, Lightning Bolt's going to be lethal, and even a Rock Biter would be lethal because your opponent's able to push through it. The Loatheb with Rock Biter and then just take you out. So this Ragnaros, he needs it to hit that 2/3 Spirit Wolf or his opponent's face. He doesn't want it to hit the Nerubian Egg.
Oh my god.
It's the right one.
Hex off the top.
That is
what is happening?
That's not quite lethal. He's 1 mana off of being able to lethal his opponent here.
Yeah, he can put him on to...
Wait, no, never mind. I'm completely incorrect. He would only have 5 damage that way.
Yeah, 5 damage. He can hex attack into the frog and then attack.
Yeah, that would only be 5 damage. I think you have to hex the Ragnaros.
Yeah, but this is like 9 mana and he's loaded, so he only has 8. So still,
oh my gosh,
Ignite is getting frogged in here. I guess you just hex Ragnaros, play for a spirit, and pass.
I don't want to leave Ragnaros up, that's for sure.
You can't. It's like Ragnaros can YOLO kill you.
Sure.
So you've seen double Shadow Flame, you've seen Hellfire. You've seen a lot of removal. There is still a possibility of a second Hellfire.
Ooh, he makes the taunt totem too.
Whoa! Yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay. So he's
going to be going for lethal then. He's saying he doesn't care which one the Ragnaros hits. You can't kill me with just Ragnaros.
Yeah, also, like, even if there is a Soulfire, he will get down to 9, so Ragnaros is not killing him.
Oh my gosh, up to 7.
Needs to kill the wolf?
No, that doesn't even do it, because he still got 4 from the Doomhammer.
Yeah, he's still dead.
It doesn't matter what hits at this point. So I think it's pretty well played from Ignite, but this isn't just an example of how strong Shaman can be in this matchup. An early Manatide Totem forced a Soulfire, which discarded a Molten Giant. And then he also had to Soulfire a 1 health minion at some point. Game 2, going over to Dtwo, ties the series up.
One game. A lot
of that's coming from at least the Paladin's perspective of it.
Yeah.
I think he should go with Hunter here. So that way Rogue has a better chance of being lined up with Paladin. That would be my only critique of this lineup. But there's only one way to know.
Totally agree.
And that's game 3. Let's do this.
Let's see them all again.
Leroy Jenkins. Yep, Hunter it is. Classic choice. How many times do you think he's going to hero power, by the way? I know that in my experience playing in this matchup, hero power really adds up, and I actually forego a lot of opportunities to develop my board in favor of getting in hero powers to make sure that I can get Shaman in a range where he has to be worried about all my minions, instead of ever being able to push through the damage to me. Is that your experience with the matchup as well?
Yeah, the same experience. It's like every time you hero power, you just smile inside because you know that they have no heal at all. So you're getting closer to a win. So even if it's like you fight for board control against the Shaman, and the Shaman eventually wins it, but then you don't care because you just kill them with like a kill command and a steady shot.
Okay. That's
those hands, by the way. Oh my god, the Hunter hand is just perfect with Undertaker and Haunted Creeper. And then there's like a Sludge Belcher, by the way. It's something that I believe Temple Storm introduced for the first time. Like Reynard was playing it, and I'm being told that Wreckful was the one who suggested having Sludge Belcher in Hunter, and it works pretty well. Like I was playing it yesterday, and I was able to win versus Reynard with the same like his own design of the deck, and it works pretty well. And on the other hand, the Shaman, well, it seemed good, but now the board is just done.
Yeah, I mean, I like this play a lot. It certainly is. It's helped him, keep a lot of damage off his back too. And I do want to touch on Sludge Belcher and Hunter. I think it's a fantastic addition. I think a lot of teams really came up with it around the same time, and then a lot of opinions about which cards you actually take out of your lineup so that you can fit Sludge Belcher in is another story. I've seen people cut Savannah Highmanes. I've seen people, completely cut the Undertaker plan from their build and go straight for mid-game scaling into Sludge Belchers and also Savannah Highmanes. I've seen people use both of them, and I have no idea how they fit both in, but they managed to do it. But the consensus seems to be that Sludge Belcher definitely belongs to Hunter. And what deck doesn't it belong in at this point? This is what I want to know. And
it's like a top card from Nextramus, alongside Lothar, by the way.
Yeah. Something that's funny about Sludge Belcher is I don't feel like it's overpowered. I feel like it's just really efficient. And that it's so efficient that you're just like, I can't think of a reason to not include it. But it's not
really
like
good value for the cost, for its cost.
Yeah, but I don't feel like it's like warping anything. Like I don't feel like the format is worse or that it's oppressive because everyone's playing Sludge Belcher. I feel like it's just giving people creative ways to fight for the board long term.
Don't you think it's like it's slowing down the meta game too much? It's like because everybody can just play Sludge Belcher and it's like 2 taunts. It's hard to deal with. It's like, okay, it's not that hard to deal with because it's just a free 5, but you have to deal 5 points of damage to it, and then there is the 1/2 slime that you have to kill as well. So effectively, it's like a 4/7 for 5 mana.
Yeah, I think it's fine though. I think having ways to slow down the format is okay as long as it forces people to be interactive instead of non-interactive. Like if you, because the card actually it influences the way that not only your opponent's going to approach their game plan, but how they build their decks coming into it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a pretty fantastic design. Last turn, by the way, we saw Ignite go for face instead of trading with his Fire Elemental, and this is the turn where he's going to really start to turn up the heat. We actually saw him use Animal Companion and forego developing Sludge Belcher so that he could use his hero power. This is exactly one of the turns that we were talking about, where this is where he's going to start making his push for damage.
Yeah,
Shaman's
this is
down to
exactly the
16
moment.
life. Yeah,
This is exactly the moment where Shaman won the board, but it doesn't matter. It's right now Hunter can just push for damage, and he's still at 30 points of health. So even if Shaman is winning the board, it's just late.
I feel like this is a Leroy turn.
Leper Nimsh, man. Leper Nimsh. Destroy Fire Elemental and deal 2 points of damage for 1 mana.
Well, here's another
Overpowered.
option too. Is he can also play Leroy, and he can just run the Leper Gnome into either one of the 2/3s to get the 2 damage out of it anyway, and then use Unleash the Hounds to make sure he still gets 5 minions from it.
Do you think like Leroy is better or Animal Companion? Because
I think Leroy's better by a mile. I think if you run the Leper Gnome into a 2/3, your opponent goes down to 14. You play Leroy Jenkins, they get 5 minions. You use Unleash the Hounds, you get 5 minions. 11 points of damage to a 14 health opponent. I think that's a pretty good turn. Because he's got to fight back against what you're doing too, and then you're only 2 hero powers away from winning the game. So, you do have to think about some things like, Bloodlust does come to mind. I'm sure that's something he's thinking about, but I think it's worth the risk.
Wait, Leroy is like 8 points of damage, right? Because it's 2 dogs plus 2 extra dogs plus 6.
Yeah.
And Animal Companion can be.
This would have been my second play.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, what? Okay. So those players are really like conservative with their plays, like super safe.
Here's the reason I don't like this is because now instead of electing to get all of your attack damage in, you're going to have to fight that attack damage through a bunch of taunts if your opponent has them. And that's the kind of situation that I want to avoid, I think, if I'm in the
I would certainly go with your play. It's like just go face, Shaman has no ways to heal, and just even if you give all those minions to him, like just you are just giving 2 whelps and not trading with Fire Elemental. Well, you can actually trade with Fire Elemental with one of the hounds, and it's still fine because you trade 1 damage for 6 points of damage. So I'll definitely go for face there with Leroy and put them low. Right now it's another mistake for a totem.
Yeah, that seems weird. I don't know how that would have really been a mistake. Maybe he wanted to play the Flame Tongue?
Probably.
It seems fine to me. I think this is a stronger play.
Yeah, I guess he wanted Flame Tongue and be able to trade with a Sludge Belcher.
Yeah, I don't really see the issue here. It seems like a totally fine sequence to me. But again, here's the issue: is that now this Leroy and these hounds aren't going to push through the Sludge Belcher as well, unless he just goes ahead and draws Hunter's Mark.
Hunter Mark, yeah, Hunter's Mark top deck is pretty neat.
Yeah, just why not?
Wait, how much damage is it? It's 4, 6, so 6 dogs with Leroy. It's 12.
Well, he still has the beast. He still has the frog in play too, so he's not going to get all 6 of the hounds. If he does it that way.
Yeah.
He's only getting 5.
So it's like
wow, look at
hounds.
this! He even makes a Leok. This could not have
You
gone
can't
better.
believe this. Look at Dtwo's expression.
Spot. Oh
Look
my
at Ignite,
goodness.
how excited he is right now.
Yeah,
Emotion
Hunter!
in his face.
Woo! I'm excited to play against Hunter too. Look at these Hunter games. Opponent down to 4 HP, 2 hero powers away. Could have done this last turn, but is still sitting in a pretty good board position. Leok, 3/2/1s versus a board of 1 health minions. Alec here, almost certainly got to be the play this turn, but he's got to figure out a way to end this game. He can't just keep going at this rate because he's got to kill his opponent next turn.
Can you think about a possible combination of cards from Shaman to actually like clear the board, stabilize, and deal 30 points of damage in the next 2 turns?
Well, I think it starts with Alec here, and I think you have to Earthshock this Leok. And I think you go everything for the dome. Lovitz count this 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's got 12 points of damage that way. So then Flame Tongue next turn is going to give him 10. Yeah, he can actually. There's a possibility he does it. His opponent's hand's got to be really bad, but it's certainly not out of the question.
If you actually get a second Flame Tongue Totem that it doesn't change stuff, it's like, okay, you Airshock Leok here. Then you kill like almost everything and attack for 6. And the next
No,
turn,
I
if you get a
would-
rope biter.
I wouldn't kill any. You can lethal him without killing any of his minions right now because you still have the shield in play. Your opponent's got 5 points of damage on the board after the Earth Shock, so they have to push through the shield and they have to put 5 points of damage into Alec here. And I think it's a risk you can easily take. I'm okay with trading away one dog, but he needs to Earth Shock this Leok, in my opinion. He's thinking about what happens if his opponent draws Houndmaster. That's what he's thinking about with his Earth Shock.
Well, he has to Earthshock the Leok anyway right now. He attacked with a minion. What? Okay.
Wow, he's actually Earth Shocking 2-1.
So-
I wouldn't have attacked Leok there either. Oh, and there's Kill Command. But I think
Okay,
Leroy.
this is
Leroy,
this
I think,
is so
was enough
over.
Anyway. I'm pretty sure Leroy was enough anyway. It was just 2 damage and then 2 more from the hero power. Yeah, he's not even. Oh, he's gonna show the Kill Command BM. Wow, everyone needs to tweet Ignite right now and let him know what a jerk he is. 2-1 for Ignite. He goes up. Hunter crushing this Shaman deck. Had control pretty much every single step of the way. And if not, he's going to be dumpstered by Ignite and his Hunter. Game 4 right now.
Do you think he's actually sorry that he didn't ban Hunter?
Well, if you lose, you certainly might be, but you know, I've done well against Hunter in the past, and I've done poorly against Hunter in the past. And wow, Ignite's got Mad Scientist, Sludge Belcher, and Undertaker, and Savannah Highmane. I have no idea what God got from this deck. By the way, just absolutely no idea. Dtwo, you can see pain to throw away inequality, by the way. Can't say I blame him. This opening hand is a little bit ugly, too.
Yeah, it's super slow, and I guess he was searching for Pyromancer.
We're searching for a lot of things, I think. Obviously, Harvest Golem is one of them.
True Silver.
True Silver Champion, of course, is one of them. Consecration, obviously, you kept that one. And I think outside of that, you have a pretty good chance to keep the board at bay. But he draws Harrison Jones, and he draws Guardian Kings. Actually, you know what we didn't see from Ignite is we didn't see an Eagle Horn bow.
Yeah, there's no. We haven't seen bow, but by the way, I just that web spinner is just so good in here. Like he didn't have a beast.
Gosh.
He didn't have a beast, and now he has it, and then his curve is just amazing. With like,
Yeah.
do you go for the beast? Oh my god, you have to kill the Undertaker.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
So-
I think you definitely kill the Undertaker here. So, some strong damage going to be coming his way. Wow, he's got Eagle Horn bow. I don't...
Oh,
Ignite's got 39 cards in this deck. I'm just convinced. I don't know how we fit
look at
everything in.
Dtwo, by the way. He has 17 points of health. Like this is super low for a paladin.
Yeah, this is one of those spots where he's going to find himself struggling when he draws Sylvanas and Ragnaros in his opening hand, and then he picks up something like Guardian of Kings too early, and he's not picking up taunts. Like Sludge Belcher is obviously a card he wants right now. Any heal I think is fantastic, and that scientist is going to get even more value out of this.
Oh my
Harrison
god.
Jones has got to come down this turn, but he's only at 10 life after that. There's a Holy
is
Light. That's a
over.
card he needs.
This is
I don't-
over. Look at the situation. It's like he has 10 points of health. Like even if he, well, if you play Harrison Jones in here, you're almost like dead next turn. If there's a Leroy, you're just dead. And
Yeah,
Ignite
I mean,
could just play Lothab next turn. So
there's no doubt that Ignite's draw has been very strong the whole step of the way. Sludge Belcher picks up as well.
Lothab is so strong in here. By the way, you just deny your opponent to play equality, consecration stuff. It's like they won't be able to play anything. It's like you just go face for 7, put them to what 9 points of health. You play Lothab and seal the game. It's like what they can play. They can only play a taunt if they have one. But then Lothab is just a 5/5 body, which is just great. And you still have the trap. Like I haven't seen what kind of trap it is, but I would assume it's a freezing trap.
Yeah, I didn't see what he hovered over either. I would also assume it's freezing trap, but you can't say for certain.
And we are going to find out what kind of trap is it. Freezing trap. Sick.
Jones and well,
Wait,
Ignite needs
that's
1
it.
point of damage. 9,
Okay,
10, he's
it's
got
one of
11. Needs 1 point of damage. Zombie Chow gonna try to get in the way. Not sure it's gonna work. Ignite
He gets
gets up
it.
kill command. Big
This
draw
was
at the end. That's
super fast game.
D2 is not like happy about it, but certainly some cards in this paladin that I did not expect to see.